That's partly the reason many people in my generation or younger tend to take our freedom for granted, because we haven't really seen the atrocities which were perpetrated on us by the Britishers. And today we have Brigadier Vidur Nevrekar, who is going to be talking to us about the India's freedom struggle from 1857 to 1947, the 75 years of our glorious independence, and what lies ahead of us. We really appreciate Brigadier Vidur taking out time to join us. He's an accomplished person, war veteran, who served the army across the country, from the deserts of Rajasthan to the jungles in the northeast in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, to the glaciers in Siachen. He was commissioned in the Indian Army in March 1982 and served for 33 long years, starting as a second lieutenant, rising to the position of a brigadier. During the years of his distinguished service, he helped create a new brigade and plug the gaps in defense against China in the unexploited areas of Arunachal Pradesh. He fought against the terrorists, kept India safe, kept our infrastructure safe. And he also served as the president of the Elite Services Selection Board, which selects the candidates for the NDA. He is also a qualified instructor in gunnery and has served as the instructor at Surveillance and Target Acquisition Branch of prestigious School of Artillery, Devlali. Post his retirement, he is actively involved in personality development training and training young lads to become officers in the Indian Armed Forces. We are honored to have you, Brigadier Vidur, with us as a speaker today. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, Ashish, you'll have to guide me when I have to come in.
Sure. Thank you. Friends, most of you have been attending our sessions, but some of you are joining us for the first time today. So I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018 with a mission to help 1 million working professionals lead healthy, happy, and wealthy lives. Prior to starting Mindful Living, I worked in the corporate sector in senior management roles with organizations like Tata Group, Future Group, HCL, and Dabur. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the employees are and the toll that stress takes on their health, happiness, and well-being. And I thought to myself, being a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, that there is a better way of living that we need, and that message needs to be taken to the employees in the corporate sector. With that thought in mind, we started Mindful Living in 2018, and we have conducted over 300 sessions for leading organizations like Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, EXL, Schneider, Signify, HDFC Life, Kotak Life, and many other blue chip organizations. The session today is being conducted as a part of the Mindful Living Community Initiative, which started in April 2020 when the first lockdown took place. A lot of my friends reached out to me and shared with me how stressed they are with the lockdown and the anxiety it is causing them. And they requested me to conduct a mindfulness session for them. So on a weekend, I conducted mindfulness session for a few of my friends. One thing led to other, and today we have become a vibrant community of over 3,000 people, which is actively engaged in learning and sharing how to live mindfully. In case you would like to be part of this awesome community, please click on the link that we have shared in the chat and join us. It's a very safe place to learn mindfulness and live consciously. We don't encourage any political or religious discussions, and we respect everyone's freedom of expression, and that makes it a very safe community for everybody. all our sessions on Saturdays are complimentary. And you could also click on the link of our YouTube channel to see the 100+ videos that we have on our channel, which are about living healthy, happy, and wealthy lives. I'll urge you to keep your camera on, as it really motivates the speaker to engage fully and deliver his best. Also use the reactions button in the taskbar to clap, show love to Brigadier Vidur, or thumbs up if there's anything that he shares that resonates with you. On that note, I'll invite Brigadier Vidur to share this awesome story with us.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish. Good evening, all of you. I wonder if anybody is joining across the other part of the world. Good afternoon and good morning to you, depending on which part of the country, which part of the world you're joining from. I am so privileged today to address this August gathering. I'm also thankful to Mr. Ashish to give me that opportunity. I can also see Mrs. Bhave in this gathering today, and I'm also thankful to Brigadier Mrs. Bhave, Brigadier Manish Bhave and Mrs. Bhave for recommending my name to Mr. Ashish. I'm so thankful to you. At the outset, let me wish you very best for the ongoing festivities of 75th anniversary of independence of India. Our topic today on this befitting occasion is nothing but freedom. You'll have to grant me, because this is my first venture, so it will take me some time for technical things like sharing my video and the other things. Yeah, so that will be our topic today. Our freedom is the result of inspiration, courage, sacrifice, strength, and unity shown by our freedom fighters. They were from different places in different era of time. They had different methodology, they had different principles, but all of them had a single aim, and that aim was to get rid of the British Raj. My head bows to all of them, all freedom fighters today. My head also bows to all those who have sacrificed their life and time post-freedom, not only to retain this freedom, but also to take us on the path of prosperity. The recorded history of our freedom fight is basically from 1857 onwards. But even before that, we had a number of fights. We had a number of wars with Britishers. We had Anglo-Mysore War. We had 3 Anglo-Maratha wars. We had 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. We lost all of them. Every one war was giving an ascendance to the East India Company. The major reason attributed to the British victory was lack of unity amongst Indians. Even today, in some aspects of our functioning, we are continuing to have lack of unity. The first war of independence actually started in 1857 as per the recorded history. Almost 6,000 British soldiers died in this war. There is no record as such of how many casualties we had in this war, the Indians had. But then looking at the demographic count of 1857 of that region and the 1871 census, that was the first census, almost 8 lakh people died in that area. 8 lakh out of the total population of India, almost 26 crores that time. So it was a total population, it was about 0.3% died in that particular region. So you can imagine what colossal bloodbath that must have been. And these are not only incidentally the rebellion casualties. they were also because of the famines and various epidemics that they had. This is the name given to 1857. These are various names given to 1857 War of Independence. One thing that came out of 1857 war was that it led to the dissolution of East India Company. The East India Company started in 1600. After 250 years, it had to be dissolved. Incidentally, the same East India Company is now owned by an Indian, Sanjeev Mehta, an Indian businessman, Indian born and now settled there. This also forced the British to reorganize the army, financial system, as also the administration through passage of Government of India Act 1858. India was thereafter administered directly by the British Crown. The fight after this was on a level of the political fight, and that was through the the Indian National Congress. Lal Bal Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal were at the helms of this fight till about 1820. After 1820, the mantle was taken by Mahatma Gandhi, and he continued till 1947, till we got the freedom. During not only this 190 years, but even before that, 190 years, why I'm saying is from the Battle of Plassey, 100 years till 1857, from 1757 and thereafter till 1947. So this about 200 periods, British had really resorted to a lot of atrocities on Indian.
Brigadier Vidar, we are still seeing the slide of first War of Independence. I don't know if you have moved on to the other slides.
Yeah. I'm switching on to the next slide now.
Okay.
Yeah. If I have to describe the British atrocities in just one sentence, I would use that sentence from Shashi Tharoor's book, Era of Darkness. The rise of Britain during 2 centuries between this 18th and 20th was financed by the depredations in India. And sure enough, India exported to Britain 1.3 billion pounds worth of goods each year from 1835 to 1872, and with no corresponding return of money, imagine. India's share of world economy was 23% in the 18th century. This has reduced to about 3% when they handed over to us. British Crown looted $45 trillion from India, ranging from raw materials to even Kohinoor diamond. The thumbs of Indian weavers were cut off, physically and metaphorically. Indian farmers were crushed under the taxes. 90% of population was in poverty. In 11 major famines in different parts of India between 1770 and 1944, about 3 to 3.5 crores, 30 to 35 million Indians died in these famines. To put this into perspective, if you take the century of 1800 to 1900, in the 100 years of wars, 5 million people died. And if you take just 10 years from 1891 to 1900, 19 million people died in India because of the famines. In fact, when the famines took place in Bengal, the food grain from there was transported to Britain to keep it as a war reserve. That was the atrocity of Britishers. At the time of independence, India's per capita income was a little less than $3. In 1901, the salary of British Secretary to India paid from the Indian taxes was equivalent to an average of 90,000 Indian salary. Why I am telling you about this atrocities is that unless we understand the shame that we have gone through, our patriotism does not rise. And that is why at our stage, it is very, very important that we understand these atrocities. We shall now see how have been our 75 years. When we took over from British, the situation was very, very grim, and we had to do something about it. We were totally drained, we were divided, but we were desperate to make it on ourselves. Independence everyone wants, everyone knows that the independence is difficult, but everyone wants independence. Similarly, we wanted independence, we knew, and we were desperate to make it on our own. The economy was very, very grim. We had to do a massive amount of industrialization. We had various revolutions: green revolution for agriculture, white revolution for milk, blue revolution for aquaculture, yellow revolution for edible oil, gold for honey. We opened our economy to the outsiders. We had globalized our economy. We nationalized our banks when required. We privatized them when required. We merged our banks when required. We demerged when required. And today we are a reckoning of power, economic power in the world. Our per capita income has now gone from $3 when we took over to $2,000 now. Our GDP share today is 3.3%. We are fifth in the world. The entire Europe, except probably for Germany, are all behind us, including the United Kingdom. And that is a feather in our cap. As regards geopolitics, we have successfully navigated the Cold War. We have liberated Bangladesh. We have isolated Pakistan. We have controlled China. We have made friends with diverse countries. We have made friends with Arabs as well as Israel. We have made friends with USA as well as Russia. We had a number of strategic and commercial agreements with most of the countries. Today, we are a reckonable power in defense, technology, economy, international relations, and whatever you need. Public health was a big challenge. When we took over, our life expectancy was 27 years. Today, we have reversed the figures. It is 71 or 72 years, almost 3 times. You can imagine the irony. We had 7.5 crores of malaria cases out of a total population of 33 crores, almost about 25%. 25% of Indians were having malaria. We could reduce it to about 1 lakh in 1964. Today, we are 0.3%, though number-wise it is quite large, but we are 0.3% of our population of 140 crores. We had 500 cases of polio coming every day. Today, we are polio-free country. We have eradicated malaria. We are undergoing a massive vaccination program today in the country. Till about a week back, we have vaccinated, not vaccinated, but given 211 crore doses. We have administered so many doses. We are second in the country as far as administering corona doses are concerned. We are also exporting to many countries. In 47, we had 2,000 cases of mother's death during the childbirth. For every 1 lakh childbirths, there were 2,000 mothers dying. Today, the number has come down to 103. 103 is not less, but definitely it is much lesser than that. Technology has been one of the feather in our cap. Immediately on independence, within 16 years, we sent a rocket into the space for analyzing the upper strata of atmosphere. Today, we are a space power. We have sent man to moon. We are in the periphery of Mars. We had 2 nuclear tests to our credit in 1974 and 1998. In defense technology, at some point in time, we were only the importers. Today, we export defense equipment. All these things have been possible because of a very strong democracy and very strong literacy. From day one, all adults in our country have voting rights. USA took 150 years to give universal franchisee rights. We have grown from 33 crores to 140 crores. We had the states organized and reorganized. but we never compromised on the elections. They have been at times chaotic. There have been partialities, but whatever, every 5 years, elections have been held. We had some very, very strong election commissioners. They gave us unimaginable reforms, even against the wishes of the politicians. See the strong administrative cadre that we have. In the last election, 60 crores Indian voted. That is equivalent to 10 times of the population of United Kingdom, twice the population of United States, and almost 80% of the population of entire Europe. But at the same time, I would also like to tell you that out of 93 crores, only 60 crores voted. Almost 33% did not vote. And most of this 33% are the educated people like us. So a lot of introspection is required at our end. When the Britishers left, Churchill thought that India's experience for governance will not be good. Maybe because there was a social diversity. There were a lot of languages, a lot of regions, a lot of religions, a lot of cultures. There's a quote by Churchill: India is merely a geographic expression. It is no more a single country than the equator. India proudly proved Churchill wrong. India today remains united and grows stronger. As far as literacy is concerned, we were 16% literate when Britishers left. Today we are 75%. We had 28 medical colleges. Today we are 600 plus. We had 4 dental colleges. We are 300 plus. We had 33 engineering colleges. We are 6,000 plus. We are the biggest pool of talented people today. We had engineers, we have doctors, we have the CEOs leading most of the big companies in the world. Not that everything was tickety-boo. There were pitfalls. There were wrong decisions, there were mistakes, there were negligence, there were pressures. We had Security Council seat coming to us. We have refused it. We had neighbors active against us in 42 Kashmir incursions. In 62, China attacked us. 65 and 71 wars with Pakistan. Sri Lanka adventure of 1987. We had Galwan in 2020. We had Doklam in 2017. We had Samdarong before that in 1987. But we all handled that very firmly. As far as our internal situation is concerned, we survived partition. We had Babri Masjid demolition. We had inter and intra-religious riots. We had Operation Blue Star. We had serial bomb blasts. We had tsunami. Terrorism haunted us, but again, we handled all this with firm hands. We had emergency. In 1975, we had emergency, but that lasted only 22 months. And that is what India is all about. Britishers left behind a lot of legacies. And one of them is English. Yes, cricket and coffee and tea are very, very enjoyable. But English, certainly not. English has become a status symbol. English today is a banyan tree, which is blocking the progress of all Indian languages, including Sanskrit. We all want to put our children into English medium schools. The vernacular medium schools are being looked down upon. Judiciary is nothing less than this. We have something called Indian Penal Code 1860. Section 144 of Indian Penal Code, which was used for Jallianwala Bagh and many other movements, freedom movements, we are still using it. We are still using the sedition law 121A even today. Interestingly, Britishers have removed it from their constitution, but we are still continuing with it. We have many laws, the electricity law of 1870 and many other laws which are not listed down, but then there are laws which are British timers, and they are still there. In fact, in a very funny verdict of Supreme Court of Pakistan, somewhere in 2015, Supreme Court of Pakistan passed a verdict that all government transaction will happen in Urdu and not in English. Today, after 7 years in 2022, not only that the government of Pakistan is functioning in English, even the Supreme Court is continuing to give its verdict in English. That is the irony. Well, after thousands of years of Indian culture, really speaking, 200 years of British rule should not make a difference. But 200 years is quite some period, and you cannot say that it will not have an impact on our psyche. Because colonization is not only the conquest of land and resources, it is also the conquest of mind. And if you have the colonial mindset in the pre-colonial period, it will definitely affect the ground realities in post-colonial period. It is all good as long as you try to take out the wheat and leave out the chaff. English will continue for some time. We have to deal with it. Having seen that, having what we have achieved and what pitfalls we had, we shall now see what is the journey ahead in front of us. We've been very fortunate, like Mr. Ashish brought out in the beginning, we've been very fortunate that we all, at least the gathering sitting here, we all have been born in independent India. Barring about 1% population of 140 crores, all of us are born in independent India. We have not seen what is atrocities. You've been born with a silver spoon, and that silver spoon is the fundamental rights. Now, if we want to continue with this fundamental rights and not test those atrocities which are listed were maybe thousands or 1 croreth fraction of what actually happened that time. But then they're so frightening. So imagine if we don't want such frightening things to happen. One responsibility that we have today is not to let this slip out of our hands. And if we don't have to slip out of our hands, what can we do about it? The first thing that comes to our mind is these three things which should happen in simultaneity, but we shall discuss them in sequence. We have to have a very strong, we have to be very strong outwardly. We have to have very strong international relations. And of course, we have to be very strong with it. As far as strong outwardly is concerned, we have to have a good defense. Very strong defense. We have it. I will try and show you a video from Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. It speaks for itself.
Your wife is all nicely dressed up and walking around. We're glad, but you must understand that's happening only because there is a man out there who is willing to widow his own wife. This is not a small thing. I want you to understand this. Anything that we are doing in our life today is possible only because somebody is defending this land all the time with their lives. Our children are going to school because there is some child out there who is willing to be orphaned. There is some father out there who is willing to orphan his own children. That is why your children are going to school. And I also want you to understand, being a soldier does not mean he wants to die, but he is willing to die. It's a very big difference. Somebody wants to die, that is a different matter. Somebody wants to live, but he is willing to die for something that matters to everybody. That is a different affair altogether. You must understand, wars don't happen on the border. The idea of war is to enter the nation, but somebody is stopping at the border. We must owe everything that we do in our lives, whether it's business, spirituality, cinema, studies, whatever you're doing, it's only because Those men are standing there and willing to die for this nation.
I don't know what is that chemical locha or whatever you call it, but then why is that man ready to die? I think there is some kind of an inspiration clubbed with the devotion and the faith. It is a subject by itself, and in some other forum we shall discuss in detail about it, or maybe in the question answer forum. The second thing that we saw was to have very strong international relationship. I have another video to speak for that. This video is not from an Indian. It is from a foreigner. And this foreigner is also not from a very friendly country. Actually, he's from our adversary. Just go through the video.
And that too from an unlikely source. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan. On Saturday, Imran Khan was addressing a rally in Lahore. He said, if you want to see a truly independent country, look at India. You have to listen to this.
हिंदुस्तान अमेरिका का स्ट्रेटेजिक एलायर और उनको जब अमेरिका ने कहा कि आप रूस से तेल ना खरीदें तो उनके फॉरेन मिनिस्टर ने क्या कहा ये देखें. Tell me, buying Russian gas is not funding the war? I mean, why is it's only Indian money and oil coming to India which funds, but it's not gas coming to Europe which funds? I mean, I don't know, somewhere. I mean, let's be a little even-handed out here. If countries in Europe and the West and the United States are so concerned, why don't they allow Iranian oil to come into the market? Why don't they allow Venezuelan oil to come into the market? I mean, they've squeezed every other source of oil we have. ये होता है आजाद मुल्क.
Imran Khan played that song.
Doesn't that give us a goosebump? With such strong international relationship, international affairs, with such strong defense, with such strong administrative cadre, there's nothing to worry. But the next part is more tricky. And that is to make ourselves internally strong. How do we do that? In the other two that we have seen, the external thing and the external relationship, it is only a few people who are involved in that affair. They carried on with whatever they had to do. But when it comes to making ourselves internally strong, we all are equally responsible. We cannot leave everything out to the government. We all are equally responsible. And if in one word, if I have to describe how we have to be internally strong, I would say we have to be patriotic. And what is patriotism? It is feeling of love and devotion, sense of attachment to one's own country, love for your language, love for your homeland, love for your religion, your ethnicity, your culture, your tradition, everything that is yours, but without hating the others. None of us feel that we are not patriotic. I mean, I don't know anybody in India who feels or who is not patriotic. But we have our own definitions of patriotism. Does that definition of patriotism really match with the general requirement of patriotism? Now we have to discuss the responsibilities for the citizens as well as the government. Now here in this case, we shall discuss our responsibilities first and then go to the government. Now these are the responsibilities. He respects the national anthem and knows it by heart. Most of us do that. He respects the national flag and whenever possible tries to become a part of flag hoisting, either physically or remotely. He respects, knows and follows the national pledge. Yes, most of us, the patriotism ends here. Our patriotism is at the peak from 10th to 15th August and probably 20th to 27th January. What follows is actually what is required for us. He participates in the representative democracy by voting. I told you earlier, 33 crores didn't vote for the last election, most of them educated. He volunteers for community services whenever possible and helps underprivileged. By God's grace, we all have something in abundance. Let us give something out to them. He follows all rules and laws. There are 4 entities which make rule. One is the government, the state. Second is the organizations, private, public, whatever. The third entity which makes rules is the society. And the fourth is we ourselves. If we ourselves make rules to follow all the rules, nobody can stop or nobody can let the fundamental rights spill out of our hand. He pays taxes. Yes, all of us sitting here probably cannot hide taxes, but there are people who hide taxes. Out of 140 crores today, even if we consider 25% taxable income, people with taxable income, that is 35 crores. And for each earning member, we say there are 5 people. So about 7 crores. But the tax returns are just about 2 to 3 crores. So this is a time to introspect. He promotes non-corrupt practices. He supports all social endeavors like Swachh Bharat. He respects diversity, loves unity. He understands the duties and responsibilities enshrined in the Constitution. He reads own history and is proud of it. Now, if the citizens have to do this, the government also has some responsibilities. Government has to provide us with the wherewithal to make this our responsibilities possible. We shall see what the government has to do. Now, we already seen defense and external affairs. Apart from that, the economic growth and development, protection of civil liberties, provide a strong international security, internal security, promote health and social welfare, create an environment of opportunities in arts, sports, scientific fields, manufacturing and services, trade, and whatever you can think of, wherever a person may want to, venture in. Create an environment for education, very important. Discourage corruption, administer proper justice, conduct fair and timely elections, promote, protect, respect, and fulfill human rights. Actually, there is nothing like government responsibility separate and our responsibility separate. They go hand in hand. You don't get into corruption, government doesn't wait for corruption to happen. The government doesn't keep the options for corruption open, we don't go in for corruption. So it goes hand in hand. So unless there is a good, unity between the government and the people, we cannot progress further. To conclude, 200 years of colonial rule and the atrocities that we had, the 75 years, whatever we recovered is really impeccable. It shows our resilience, perseverance, and can-do attitude. There are legacies left out by the British, but the Britishers can now only be considered as villains. They are certainly neither the protagonist nor are they the authors. We have the authorship of our own aspirations, and we must continue with that. We are far from perfect. We have corruption, we have inefficiencies, we have caste politics, and we have a lot of things to complain about. But you will appreciate that India has delivered, unlike many other countries in the neighborhood. We have alleviated poverty. We have world-class infrastructure. We have sent people to space. We have sent people to win gold in games. We have sent people to win beauty pageants. We have our CEOs of the leading company all over the world today. While we are celebrating today our past, we also have a very bright future, and we have vision for that future. In the recent Independence Day celebration that we had, the hoisting that we had, our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Modi, has come out with a Panchapran to follow this Panchapran for the centenary of our Independence Day. The first is to move forward with bigger resolves and the resolve of a developed India. Second is to erase all traces of servitude. Third, be proud of our legacy. Fourth, understand the strength of our unity. Fifth, understand our duties and our as a citizen. I am sure if we follow this, nobody can go against us. I actually have finished here, but with the permission of Mr. Ashish, all of us have last spoken our national pledge probably when we are in our 10th standard. Can we all rise if we can and speak our national anthem today in unison? Mr. Ashish, if you have your permission, I will show you this, and I request you to keep yourself unmuted and keep your videos on.
Thank you so much for this, Brigadier Vidar.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I will be your monitor for this class. So I will speak, and you can follow with me, not after me.
Yes.
India is my country,
India
is my
country.
and all Indians. You talk with me, and all Indians.
And all
are my
Indians
brothers
are
and
my
sisters.
brothers and sisters.
All
I
Indians
love my
my
country,
country.
and I am
I'm
proud
proud
of
of
it.
its
Rich
rich heritage.
I
I shall always
strive to be worthy
part
of it.
I shall
I
give
shall give respect to my parents,
teachers,
teachers, and all the
elders.
elders,
and treat
Treat
everyone with courtesy.
to my
In my
My
country
country
and my
my people,
and
I pledge my devotion
in their
in
well-being
their
well-being
well-being
and prosperity alone
alone
lies my
lies
happiness.
my happiness.
Jai
Jai Hind.
Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you. And now the floor is open for questions.
Thank you so much, Brigadier Vidar. There are very few people I know who can cover 200, 300 years of history, past and present, and also look into the future. Really appreciate your sharing this with us. Very, very comprehensive, very, very comprehensively. And happy to take any questions from anyone, any questions or comments anyone would have. Yes, Brigadier Vidar, we have Supriya who has a question.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And very, very nice walkthrough to the past 75 years of independence. We tend to forget what we have gained for last so many years because we just kind of take things for granted. It's very easy to forget. Now, my question is about patriotism. See, we are also from a defense background family. So we also wish that our children have that same patriotism that we have had, because my husband is also serving the nation in the army. So when it comes to our children, whenever we tell them, to stay back in India and work for the Indian economy, they have a thing to say. Like they say that we don't see a brighter future staying back here. There are a lot of drawbacks in India that they feel. That they say that it's much easier when we go out. This servitude, what we say, we still have that old colonialism mentality, even in the corporates or something, that they make you slog. In India, you don't have a weekend which is like Saturday, Sunday, that you are left alone. So they say quality of life is much better outside. So like my husband always tells them, no, like India is growing and the future is India. In next 5 years, you will have the best of best happening in India, 5 to 10 years. So what they say is generally, they says by that time, it will take a long time. Our life will be gone. So they say we don't think that is what is the future. And I believe what they are saying is they are voicing what most of the younger generation is saying. Younger generation is in the 30s, early 30s, those children, the youth. So how do we change this mentality? Because, they are from they're coming from a background where the parents are kind of settled. So, they've not seen the difficult part of life. Things have come relatively easy and now they want to migrate outside.
Yeah, I will try and attempt this question. In fact, I'm also in a similar situation. My son is also abroad, and of course he is studying. But obviously, I mean, if they're there, they would look for a better opportunity outside. And there's a quick money there, which quick money in the sense a large sum of money. I wouldn't say quick money, but a large sum of money. Now, what I see is I am actually in agreement with what Brigadier Bhave tells you. You know, it is our country is now evolving. You know, we have delivered so much in last 75 years. We are still just 75 years. In a human life, 75 years is a very big period. But in the country's life, USA took 150 years to give universal franchisee right. So you can imagine to that extent, we have done tremendous for ourselves. You know, the youngsters do feel that the things there are good. But I know of people who have gone there at very young age in very, very good appointments. And when they come to India, they realize that, you know, we have there to do everything ourselves. I drive my own car. I mean, people like, you know, having in very, very good appointments. They say we drive our own car to the office. In the office, I pick up my briefcase and go to the office from the car. There I work myself. I have to give a file. Of course, now the file traditions are not there anymore. But then if I have to send something to the next room, I have to personally pick it up and take it. I come home, I prepare my own food. I wash my own utensils and, you know, I prepare for myself tomorrow. Whereas here, a similar appointment, he just has to work in the office. Rest everything is taken care of. Now, when these things are realized by the people there, they all come here. Many of them come here. I mean, I know many of my friends who have realized that, you know, the things there are only show. Here, you really enjoy your life. Even you see your buying capacity vis-a-vis your earning abroad. Probably you are somewhere there. Yeah, you may be a little higher. So what I feel is, to answer your question, I think over a period of time, as and when we improve in our economy improves, our technology further goes up, our public health further goes up, I think more and more people, the education infrastructure increases. Today, yes, we have infrastructure. Today we are manufacturing, I would say, I would rather use that word manufacturing, about 150,000 engineers every year. But most of those engineers are applying for the job of constable in Delhi police and Jawans in the army. So as and when our culture of education improves, as and when the educational institute migrate from gundas to the educated people, you know, and that time is going to come. The corruption, if you found, is reducing over a period of time. And that time, I am quite hopeful that that time is going to come. And probably as the time comes, people will try and settle down, you know, in this part of the world rather than going abroad. You would have seen now very less migration from villages to the cities, because villages have all the infrastructure that you have. So people have nothing to do with the cities. They're happy with the villages or smaller cities, I would say. So probably let us hope for these things to happen in near future, if not immediate.
Thank you so much.
I hope that satisfies your question.
Yeah, yes, I think she's on mute.
Yes, I think actually there is, I mean, so many factors more. It's only like a transition thing that will take its own time. You know, by the time if somebody realizes, as he said, like some people would come back later on from abroad when they come to a certain strata financial standing, they want to come back because they realize that it's more comfortable and it's better to be, you know, get back to your roots. So it's like, of course, like a cycle. Like many a times from the city, people go back to the villages once they have got a better financial standing, so that they could start something new in the villages. So it's the same thing. Yes, but it's like the early Josh when they want, you know, they want that good life, a lot of money, and also that is what I think they get attracted to migrate.
But I'm with you with your emotions that our children should be there.
Yes.
Thank you, Supriya, for asking that, and thank you, Vidur, for holding on that one. We have time for one last question. If anybody has a question, we'll be happy to take any question or comment anybody has got. Why is India's true history not taught in school? That's a question from Mandar, Brigadier Vidar.
Was about to ask this question, Brigadier Vidur. Why history of India is not children are learning in school? Thank you, Mandar.
Yeah, it's a $1 million question. I am unfortunately a defense personnel and not a politician. But then,
Yeah, please.
Yeah, never mind. So what I feel is there were different priority of politicians at different times. Things are changing, syllabus are changing. Probably we will be taught Indian history in the near future. Probably all that we've been taught will be replaced with Indian history.
Yeah.
I'm very hopeful. I have really no reason as to why it is not taught. But I agree with you, I have learned very little of it.
Yeah.
Whatever I learned, after I started reading something from outside.
Actually, there are a lot of studies being conducted for this because there have been a lot of questions floating on this also to take an opinion. And as you said, surely they are going to change the syllabus, history syllabus sooner or later. Maybe it will take a while, but they are going to change it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Supriya. Thank you for asking that question, Mandar. Any quick comment before we close the session today? All right. Thank you, friends, for joining us on this Saturday evening. And thank you so much, Brigadier Vidur, for this awesome take on the history. It was like, covering 200, 300 years. And I was absolutely captivated with what you shared. And there is a lot of learnings and takeaways from what you shared. There are many things you shared, but there's one thing which resonated with me, which is, we lost some of the earlier wars was because of lack of unity. And that's something which we see in the corporate structure, we see in the families today, that if they are not unified, the different departments are not unified, or if within the family, different members are not unified, it leads to a fall sooner than later. So I think that was one of the things that resonated with me. There's another which you spoke about, in the video of Sadhguru, where he shares that if we are safe today, it is because of some child, some wife, some mother willing to give up their son, father, or husband. So I had a lot of such interesting insights about the progress we have made on many different fronts, which we see in bits and pieces, but you held it all together for us, whether it's in the area of public health or education or technology, defense manufacturing. I think many areas you covered today. So thank you very much on behalf of the Mindful Living community, Brigadier Vidur.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to continue with the Mindful Living community. In fact, I'm very thankful to Mrs. Bhave for recommending you my name. Of course, it's only last few days that I've been associated with this community. It is amazing. It is so rejuvenating, getting into the activities that you're doing. And I'm sure all of us are gaining a lot from it. Thank you very much.
Ashish, sorry, I would like to just say something Brigadier Nevrekar. He's also been a part of the selections.
Yes.
And he will have a lot of inputs about the selection process also. I mean, not to really be a part of the army, but what they kind of gauge as a very important factor in human beings or a candidate who comes, how they decide, especially the psychological part and the grooming part, how they decide that this particular candidate would be a fit or a misfit. So I'm sure you can try.
Certainly.
I've had some long discussions with Brigadier.
Yes, we had a good discussion that day on the system.
Yes, so
I'm very happy to share that Brigadier Vidur has so kindly agreed to develop some case studies on leadership for us. So
Yes,
he'll be guiding us, he'll be participating with us and working together, in developing leadership case studies. So thank you. Ever so grateful to you, Brigadier.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Brigadier. Thank you so much. We are honored to hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, Ashish.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Brigadier.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ashish. Finally,
Thank you, sir.
I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigadier.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai
Jai
Hind.
Hind, sir. Jai Hind. Jai
Jai.
Hind.